and welcome to today's GBC Analytics Club speaker series for the month of March. We're actually going to have 3 speaker series this month. The first one that we'll be having, another one will be on 21st and 28th for Kalisha as well, for continuation of this one that we're having today. So today's speaker series promises to be very informative, as it will help all of us students to distinguish ourselves amongst many job applicants and make it seamless for us to land our dream jobs after our studies. So the topic for today is going to be creating a competitive career roadmap and effective resume writing. So on our speaker, we have Maryna, who is an accomplished career advisor with George Brown. She will be taking us through career roadmap for the next 1 hour. So I will just allow her to introduce herself, and after which I will do some housekeeping and we'll get into the presentation proper. Maryna, you have the floor.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone. I am very flattered and very glad I was invited for this event because this is my favorite topic I'm going to be talking about today. I've graduated from George Brown College, and I thought to start my introduction from this point because I want you to feel good about your education, and because I've seen over and over again how students do not even consider that George Brown College education, your program gives you enough skills and knowledge to perform well at the job. You are ready and you know more than you realize you do. Ever since I graduated in 2008, I've been working in the field of employment. Majority of my time I spent in nonprofit organizations, which gave me a different exposure to employment field and job seekers, because at that time we were case managing our clients, meaning that we sort of were together in the job search process from the moment they were laid off or they lost their job until the moment they got a job, and after a year after of their employment. So I know for sure that the concept I'm going to be talking today about is very powerful, and it changed my professional life forever, and it changed the outlook of my clients. And so I'm very excited to introduce it to you today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maryna, for that brief introduction. You are very modest. You want to talk a lot about yourself.
No,
okay.
It's not about me. It's about you, students.
Yes. All right. Thank you. So a quick housekeeping rules. Please, if you are not speaking, please mute your microphone, and there will be chance to ask questions at the end of the presentation. And I understand that in between the presentation, Maryna is going to allow us to ask 1 or 2 questions in between as she deems fit. And but whenever you want to ask a question, please make sure you raise your hands and you'll be recognized to proceed with the question. Otherwise, we'll start the presentation right now because I know it's going to be very lengthy. And I want to prepare your mind that we might go a little bit above 6. It's a lot that she wants to cut. I'm just want to just give us in 1 hour. So bear with us if you go a little bit above 6, please. And I pass it to you, Maryna, for a presentation.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. And now you see the first slide of my presentation. So the concept I'm going to be telling you about called Job Search Project Plan, aka Pearson Job Search Method. And I will tell you who was it named after later in the presentation. So the session will assist you to understand job search process, create a job search project plan, manage the project, evaluate the project search, evaluate the job search progress, and feel good about your job search process. But before I do that, I would like to give you a food for thought. So please meet Daryl, the computer whiz. So, hold on for a second. So from the time he was a child and through the college, Daryl had often visited his Uncle Jack's medical doctor office and helped the office staff however he could. When he graduated from college, Daryl got a job as a programmer with a big IT company. But in his spare time, he wrote some new doctor's office software. Daryl's program automatically did everything doctor's offices need: tracked patient care, created bills, dealt with health insurance, everything. His uncle Jake tested it, and Daryl kept working on it until Jake said it was better than anything else you can buy anywhere. Right around that time, Daryl's employer was bought by an even bigger company, and Daryl, along with 2,500 other people, was laid off. Rather than find a new job, he decided to try to sell his software. So he printed up some flyers that said medical software, call Daryl 555-5555. He put them on every windshield of every car at the nearest mall. Then he waited for a response. But only 3 doctors ever went to that mall. And on the day Daryl was passing out flyers, no doctors went near the place. No one called the phone number on the flyer. So what Daryl did is a lot like what some people do in the job search. They print a flyer called the resume, they email it to people, then they wait. No one calls. So what Daryl's marketing plan is, he needs to label a product he's offering: billing, insurance, and patient record software. Think of the target market most likely in need for that product, such as doctors' offices. Plan the best way to describe the product to the target market, and find the best way to get this message to all the doctors in his target market. So core message or elevator pitch or his marketing pitch would sound something like this: put our new physician's office assistant to work. New doctor tested software does billing, insurance, and patient records, all 65% faster than other software. He would receive better response by talking to his Uncle Jake's doctor friends, and find more doctors at medical convention than at a shopping mall. So what I would like to draw your attention to is, you probably can relate to, if you compare the first speech, the first flyer, and the second flyer, you would probably relate to that this second flyer would work much better. Not only because it names products, it names the strength of a product, but also because he uses numbers. And so this is one of the points I wanted to make during this presentation. When you work on your own marketing plan, when you work on your own flyer called resume, make sure you are using numbers, make sure you are using results. So what job search project plan consists of? Before I start telling you about the concept, I'd like to recite Orville Pearson, the career practitioner who actually created the concept. Treat your job search as a project, not as a part of a crisis. What you do with a crisis is you cope with it. What you do with a project is plan and organize it. So if you want to read more or learn more in depth about this concept, please make sure to write down the name. Please make sure to write down the name and the title of the book. It is Orville Pearson, a career practitioner and author of The Unwritten Rules of the Highly Effective Job Search. As you can see at the bottom part of the slide, there is a picture that actually introduces to you maybe more in depth, or puts things in the perspective. So basically, you cannot stop the waves. What you can do, you can learn to surf. So let's start surfing through the waves of the job search. So I have created mnemonics for this concept because I do believe that it would be easier for you to remember. So the job search project plan consists of 5 P's of the plan: prepare, plan, partner, prove it, and perform. So at the prepare stage of your job search, you would need to re-examine your work history, education, and experience. What are your strengths? What are you good at? What do you do well? What you might find beneficial is to ask your friends, co-workers, classmates as to how they would describe you to an employer. And it will give you that boost of confidence because you all of a sudden would realize you're more amazing than you know. So think of a positive impact in the past or now, if you work now, of your service on business operations. Because the common concerns and I would say it's a core around which your job search is supposed to dwell all the time, the common concerns of employers. So all employers, regardless of the side of the business, regardless of industry or location of the business, have 5 common concerns, which are profit, public image, company growth, safety, and legal issues. So, of course, all employers are concerned about profit because that's the purpose of a business. They're concerned about their public image because it has influence on profit. Company growth, again, ties to profit. Safety, if there are accidents at the workplace, that would be, that cause penalties. Dealing with WSAB, nobody wants that. And of course, legal issues, nobody likes to be sued for something. So think back in your past, whatever you were doing. If you were serving customers, how many customers per week have you, per shift have you served? Per hour? Or if you were working in a call center, how many phone calls have you been able to answer? How many concerns or complaints from customers you were able to resolve? So those are basics, those are cornerstones of your resume and your performance in the job, at the job interview. So now that you've examined your past, you would need to write 2-3 sentences about your experiences and strengths. Next step would be developing a career goal and core message. What kind of work do you want to do? Write down several job titles. And I mean it because when I was taking my program, the only job title I thought of could be an employment advisor. But when I started to research, there were an array of different job titles and hence different skill sets I would need to perform at those jobs. And so you need to be very clear what kind of jobs exist and which ones of them you want to perform. Now you need to get back to the list of your strengths you've created at the first step. Which of your strengths are transferable to your job goal? Because not all of them are transferable, right? So if your strength is cooking, let's say, that's fine, that's great, but how is it applicable to business analysis? So you need to sort through your strength and skills, which one and see which ones are transferable and which ones you can probably leave at somewhere at the back burner. Then you need to get back to those 2-3 sentences you've written about yourself and maybe make some adjustments. Next step would require you to do some research. You need to identify potential employers or create a target list of potential employers. So think of your favorite places to work. What kind of business you want to contribute to? What kind of challenge you would like to deal with or resolve for people, for the world? And then see what kind of employers can touch base or work at resolving certain challenges in the world. And so you would need to consider the geographical area. So for example, if you don't drive, probably you don't want to spend 2.5 hours on the bus. So which geographical area you prefer? So you would need to identify that and then look for businesses you would like to work for. And what organization size range would you prefer? Because if you work for a small business, if you work for a startup, chances are you would need to be a jack of all trades because they simply have no budget for people working in narrowly specific jobs. So for example, if you work in marketing, probably you would be the only person who would touch base with marketing or handle the entire small business marketing issues, right? So that's important for you to consider as well. And then we are moving to the next stage, which is plan. So now you've gathered information about your preferred employers. Now that you identify your job goal and industry you want to work at, and so now you would need to perform a reality check on your plan. What does it mean? Before I go deeper in that topic, I would like you to know the following. According to statistics, 10 to 12% of all jobs become available annually at each company. What does it mean? It means that if not now, down the road, all companies are hiring. As I said, whether it's now or during the year, they are going to be hiring. So when you take a look at employers, it is not necessarily that you need to go straight to their career page and see who they are hiring. You're not ready yet. You're gathering information about them, and you are still making selections whether or not you want to work for them. So you need to take a look at your list and ask yourself a question: is there enough organizations on your target list with enough potential job openings? So on average, you probably need to gather about 50 to 75 of them, depending on your job goal. Now, let me give you an example. Imagine for a second that you're looking for a job as a teacher. So you know your geographical area, you research on 5 schools. So let's say one school has 100 teachers, which means that up to 10 job openings might become available at each school during the year. So it consists, so basically 50 up to 50 job openings will be open during the entire year in those 5 schools. Fine, great, that's enough. You need just one job. What if you were looking for a job as a school principal? Would 5 schools be enough? Obviously not. So you would need to expand your geographical area and you would need to research on more schools. So now you understand how you can evaluate whether or not you have enough job openings, enough companies with enough job openings for you. So when you have your target list potential employers ready, you might start asking opinions of several people who knows the field about your target list and content of your resume. Okay. Now you need to gather information on your targets. So check their websites. You need to check their LinkedIn pages on each targets. Read their news feeds. Visit Glassdoor to check employees' feedback on the environment or working environment in those organizations. And prepare a list of questions to ask about these organizations, which would not obviously include whether they are hiring right now. This is not the time yet. You would need to start your drafting your resume. And I want to draw your attention to this fact. A resume writing is never a first step in the job search. Okay, so only now you can start writing your resume because you know who is your audience. You know what they want. You know what kind of challenges they have, which you can help with. And now you know what to offer, what you can offer them. So now you're ready to start writing your resume. So keep in mind your audience. You cannot write, if you were writing a book, you cannot write the same kind of book using the same kind of language, and the book would be interesting for 6-year-old and for 60-year-old. So you need to keep in mind your audience. Resume should transmit your core message or elevator pitch to reflect your strength. Okay, so you need to keep the voice of your resume very professional and relevant to the job and to the company. You would need to include your accomplishments to validate your stated strength, results, testimonials, positive comments, increase in customer satisfaction, decrease of waiting period, increase in productivity. So whatever your end result of a duty was, you need to state it in the resume, because the accomplishment-based resumes are much more effective than duty-based resume, let's say. So these are the sites you can use to make a research on your potential employers. So you can use Job Bank to explore the market and trend analysis. You use Glassdoor for jobs and company reviews, salaries, interviews. So all that information. You can use CanPages, which is a business directory, to identify potential employers. And you can use LinkedIn, Job Search Network, and networking for job search and networking. Who can help me to have a chat, because I want to share some links, but I don't want to stop sharing my screen. How can I do that? Is it possible?
What do you want to do?
I'm trying to find whether or not I can get a chat. Okay, I see. So here in the chat, I'm sharing links with you for Job Bank, Glassdoor, and CanPages. And LinkedIn, you can find yourself. All right. So this is an example of what CanPages result looks like. So if you, let's say, are in marketing, obviously, well, first of all, sorry, let me start over again. When you use CanPages, you need to consider that this is a business director's website. So basically, it does not make sense to type in the search engine a job title. So you need to type in a keyword for an industry, or maybe a keyword for, so whatever industry, probably industry would be the best. So in my case, I've typed in marketing, and this is number of results my research brought me. Did you realize that there are almost nearly 3,000 employers who would be interested in hiring you, if you're interested in marketing, of course, in the future?
Holy shit.
You had no idea. And imagine that these 3,000 employers have no idea you exist. So this is a great tool, a really great tool that you need to use in your search for potential employers. It's very encouraging. It's not I would barely think of an industry that would consist of 5 employers. There are thousands of them, thousands. All right, so I hope you're encouraged enough and motivated enough to do that. So next step in your job search project plan would be partner, AKA network. You need to talk to insiders, decision makers, and everyone else. So I want to emphasize one, or maybe you didn't realize, networking does not equal cold calling. Networking is not necessarily something you need to jump out of your skin and get out of your comfort zone if you're not ready. Start talking to people. And I mean it, because I'm one of the live examples of networking, even though I did not consider myself ever being a great networker. So my very first job after graduation, the job lead and actually reference I received from my classmate. So you're networking every single day, including your classmates. So show the target list of potential employers to your friends. This is a great conversation opener when you start networking with people you already know. So talk to friends, relatives, acquaintances, and ask for information about any possible target organizations, whether from the list or not, because it will spark maybe their memory. Oh, you know what? I know a friend of a friend who works in that organization or that company. Let me see if I can connect you. That's at this stage, this is what you want. Let anyone inside target organizations, including decision makers, know about your interest and the reasons you believe being a strong candidate for a job opening. You might know a lot of people. You might work with your coworkers, or maybe you have classmates, but guess what? They don't know how to read your mind. They have no idea what your intentions are. So you need to be clear. You need to let them know that you're looking for a job and what your strengths are. Now, you've heard me mentioning decision makers, and I wonder if you can unmute yourself and tell me, who is a decision maker in your case? Decision maker, I mean the person who has a hiring power. HR people. Anybody else has an opinion? Okay, so HR people might be decision makers only if you're looking for a job in HR. Why is that? The supervisor, very close. So basically, Ilham, you're absolutely right. HR, if you think about it, HR have no interest in hiring you. You're not going to be working with them. You're not going to be reporting to them. You're not going to be working on common goals with them. So the person who are you going to be reporting to is your ultimate decision maker. HR would select a resume, but the hiring manager would come to an HR and say, you know what, could you please pull this resume of this person for me? I'm very interested in interviewing. So your ultimate decision maker is a person you are going to be reporting to if you are selected to do this job. Explain to your contacts the process of your search and ask to be introduced to anyone else, especially insider at target organizations and decision makers. Defime, could you please take a look at what is in the chat?
Okay, I will do that now.
Okay, sorry, I found. So department head, hiring manager. So absolutely, we just discussed that. Yes, decision makers are people who you are reporting to. You would need to follow up regularly because networking does not stop at the first contact. You would need to follow up with them. And you need to start being good at it and find a creative way of following up. So if you're following up with them on a weekly basis, saying that I'm still here, I'm still ready, I still am interested, eventually it will get bored, and then eventually probably they will just start ignoring your emails. So what is a creative way? Now that you know them, now that you have some contact, you have something in common with this person, with these people, share articles with them, share interesting news with them, share with them some websites, maybe something you stumble upon when you were doing your research. Send them greeting cards for holidays. Find a way to be inventive and creative when you're following up with people to keep them interested in helping you. So you would need to probably reconnect with them every 2 to 4 weeks. And you would need to follow up with your friends and acquaintances and provide updates on your progress. And as I said, creative way of following up with people. So test, next step, prove it. You would need to test various job search techniques. And before I give you a brief list of different job search techniques, I want you to consider the following. Success rate of online job search could be 1 to 4%, whereas networking success rate could be up to 96%. Can you tell me why? Okay, so I don't want us to stretch our time forever, and I'll give you a very simple reason. People do not hire papers. People hire people. So if you know someone or somebody would recommend you, they would rather hire you than going through a stack of 500 resumes of people they don't know. So other job search techniques would be walking in, cold calling, completing applications online, responding to job ads, using staffing agencies, networking, or just plain talking to people. What you need to do at this stage is to start tracking your progress each week. This is your project. This is something you need to understand whether it's working. So keep score by tracking how many of the following you perform every week. Hours spent on job search. It's very important. If you're spending less than 20 hours per week on your job search, you're not doing a full-time job on the job search. So an average job seeker spends 5 hours per week on job search, which is not enough. So number of emails written to potential employers or your contacts, number of conversations you had in person or over the phone or online, number of conversations you had with decision makers in target organizations. Check your project plan regularly. Look for project plan efficiency evidence, such as number of interview requests received, positive feedback from decision makers, positive feedbacks on present qualifications from insiders. Attention, if none of this present, revisit the plan to find what is not working. If you see that you spend too much time on applying online and the effectiveness rate is maybe 5%, you either stop doing that altogether or spend less time on it because you see that it is not very effective. It's not doing you any good. Okay, any questions so far? Okay.
And if you are shy to ask a question, orally, you can type in the message, and I'm going to read it to her. Feel free to type if you are not willing to talk.
But there is nothing to be afraid of. We are not.
I can ask a question, please.
Sure, Farhad.
I've been trying to look for a job for, say, 5 months, and I have tried my best to connect with people on LinkedIn, sending them informational interviews requests, uh, requesting directly or indirectly if they have some opportunity for volunteer position or any
Mhm.
entry level position. Nobody kind of respond you in the way that, I mean, it's been very unsuccessful, and I don't know, the language as used is very polite and professional, but what I have concluded from my efforts that people don't have time to respond to you, or even they have a time, they don't bother you, or they don't give a whatever you want to call
Thank
it.
you, Farhad.
It's
Thank you,
been
Farhad,
very
for,
frustrating for us.
I know.
So do you have any idea how to approach them, or how differently we can approach them, so that we have a more chances to get a positive response?
Thank you for your for disclosing this, because it might be very, very painful when you keep trying, you send emails, you send requests, and then there is silence in response. So what I can suggest you is, when you're making first contact, is to express interest in the person. Because when you're asking them from the get-go, are you hiring? It's very similar to walking up to a stranger on the street and ask them, will you marry me? People are not.
I don't ask that. Are you hiring?
No, of course not. Not what I'm saying. You need to express interest in person. So I've gone through your profile, and I was really astonished. I was really amazed at your professional progression. And I would like to have 15 minutes of your time, if you have time, 15 minutes
Yeah.
of your time, to maybe you can share your tips with a person who is making first steps in this industry.
Okay.
You're asking them for advice. You make them feel good about themselves. And so they might be much more open for this first contact. And when you told them, you asked them for 15 minutes, please stick to those 15 minutes. If they indicate somehow that they are ready to go over 15 minutes, that's fine. But you need to be prepared and ask questions about the industry, about the insides of, of organization. Another tip, another
Okay.
secret for successful networking is to find a common interest between you and people. And so if you start searching through LinkedIn, through alumni from George Brown College, you already have a common interest with those people. You graduated from the same program, probably, and from the same college. And so again, if they've made a professional progression, you ask them, how did they make it happen, and what would be the tips for a person who is just starting in this field. Express interest in your contact.
I just want to share my experience. It's kind of a one-way love affair. It's ideally you would want to approach that person with the way you are just talking. And practically, I have no success in the last 4 to 5 months.
So Farhad, let me stop you right here. We have a very limited time. So let me,
sorry.
I can suggest you to make an appointment with a career advisor to talk about your particular case. So we are serving our graduates regardless of the year of graduation. Okay, so we will just move on with our material. And so I just wanted to give you, but thank you very much, Farhad. It was a really great question. I'm getting a lot. So this is what your job search progress chart might look like. So you can apply Pareto principle of 80% of results have been brought by 20% of effort. And this is how you can evaluate whether whatever you do brings you good results. All right. So what kind of, oh, this is, sorry, I thought I shared this. So this is what job search progress chart might look like. If you want me, Adefemi, I can forward to you a PDF of this progress chart so you can share it with the participants later in the follow-up email.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so what kind of wins do you need to keep track of? So so let's say you're talking to a hiring manager or you're talking to somebody who has a decision-making power, and you receive this kind of feedback. We don't have anything open at the moment, but when we do, you're at the top of my list. Send me your resume. If you impress them enough, they will be interested in you and request your resume. And I do believe that this is, I'm not talking about absolutely positive or absolutely negative. I do believe that these are rather positive feedbacks. Why do I believe so? Because when you see a person for the first time, or when you see a person, you had a conversation with a person, they don't have to be nice to you. And unless they mean it, I don't think they would say this to you. The negative feedback would sound more like, don't call us, we'll call you. So when you have this kind of response from a decision maker, what you need to do is to follow up with them to make it even more, to improve your chances to, convert this feedback into more positive results. Okay, so the last stage of your job search project plan would be a perform stage, where you would be interviewing for a position and you would need to prepare to answer commonly asked questions, practicing in mock interviews with a career advisor or interview stream, use interview stream, collect information from your network, including salary information. When interview is scheduled, before the interview is scheduled, revisit the company's website and their LinkedIn newsfeed page, because they will be asking you questions. Why should we hire you? What do you know about our company? Why you bothered to apply for this company? So you need to have tangible, some kind of tangible results to speak of. Start your new job and do well in it. So you were selected for a job, you start a new job, but this is not the end of the job search, because you are still in the probation period. Talk to your manager to confirm that what their expectations of you. Check in frequently over the first 90 days to ensure you meet the expectations. Do not assume, ask whether you're doing everything all right, whether your performance is sufficient. And so this is basically why I have included the perform stage in the job search process, because during that period, probation period, anything can happen. It's either you don't like the job or the job doesn't like you. So, and you might be to square one, but of course at this time you're going to be at the better position because you already prepared for that job search and you know exactly what to do. All right. So the top 10 top reasons for unproductive job search as a conclusion. So if people are unclear for job goal, the reason number one, when students come to me or clients in the past would ask me, come and ask me, well, I need any job. Any job is not a job title. This is not a job goal. You would need to clarify. You need to be clear of what is that you want. Reason number two, no list or not long enough list of potential employers, hence not enough job openings, unclear about your personal labor market. So, 5 companies and that's it. So go back to 10 pages and see, maybe you would need to expand your geographical area, or maybe you need to think of ways to apply your skills in different industry. Maybe you do not spend enough time on the job search. And so, as I said before, if you spend less than 20 hours per week on your job search, you would need to think of ways to spend more. You are focusing on unproductive activities. That's another thing. So sometimes it feels, and trust me, I know the feeling, it felt so much easier to sort of hide behind the computer and even lie to myself that I'm looking for a job, whereas that was not really looking for a job, because I kept applying, kept searching for opportunities, and have a pity party on myself that, well, nobody needs me, nobody wants me. So focusing on unproductive activities is reason number 5 for unproductive job search. So people are less productive when they do not keep track of a progress, when you cannot tell at the end of the week how much time you spent and how many applications you've made, because it's even encouraging for yourself. So when you see how much you've done, you're waiting for a result, you can pat yourself on the shoulder and tell yourself you deserve a break, because you do need have breaks for you when you're looking for a job, because it's very tiring, it can be frustrating, so you need some time off. When people do not take a systematic approach to the project plan, so they are not aware what stage they are in, what have they done, so you need to sort of follow those steps. When they pursue only announced job openings, you know now what the success rate of online job openings, online applications, people underestimate the role of numbers in the job search. So the more contacts you make, the more applications you've sent, the more people you made aware of your goal, the better results and the faster results would be. And looking for a job without support and or advice. It's very important for you to have a support system and make sure that your support system actually has a positive outlook. So team up with your classmates, team up with your friends, or ask somebody to be sort of your partner to whom you would relay your results of your job search on a weekly basis. So now this is time for questions. We have 5 to 10 minutes for questions. But I would probably, I would probably postpone these questions because I want to finish with the information, such as information what we can offer. I mean, career services can offer, and then I'll just stop sharing my screen and would be available to students for questions. Okay, does it sound good? All right.
Yeah, it sounds great.
So. Hold on for a second, I've lost my mouse. So career services supports available to you students and you graduates. We have career peer coaches, drop-ins. So basically what it means, you don't have to book an appointment. If you have a quick question, you can drop in and meet with our career peer coaches. They can spend 15 to 20 minutes with you. GB Careers is your ultimate source for basically anything that career services can offer. We have career events registered, we have tip sheets, we have job postings for George Brown College students. By the way, more than 4,000 employers collaborate with us on a regular basis, so we have quite a bit of job postings there. You can connect with a career advisor for your career clarity, job search, personal branding. So you need to book an appointment with us Monday to Friday from 9 o'clock until 4:30. We have YouTube channel with our events, recordings, and some workshops. And if you follow us on Instagram, you are going to be just doing great because you're going to be in touch with all current events, with all current happenings at Career Center. And we are sharing, of course, the news with our partners as well, like Center for Business, for example. So last but not least, I would like to ask you of a favor to go through the workshop feedback. And I'm going to place the link and the name of the workshop right here in the chat as well. And without further ado, I will stop sharing my screen and become available to answer questions.
Great. Thank you so much for that great delivery.
My pleasure. So
It's
definitely,
time.
do you have questions?
Yes, I have a lot of questions going through my head because the 5 P's touched, we have not been following those. We, like me, I don't know of others. I know it might be happening to other people as well. We just think of resume as soon as we think of a job. Whereas the roadmap that we spoke about really resonated with me, that I need to do better when searching for a job. And another key point that I took away from this is 1 to 4% of people getting a job online, whereas 96% of people getting a job through networking. So I better exert my dexterity and energy towards networking if I want to have that dream jobs of mine. And I would like the participant to ask questions at this point. If any question is in your mind, please feel free to ask. Farah asked a question earlier, asking for, would you mind sharing your email address, please, so that if I need to contact with you, that was the question.
Okay, so you don't need to contact me personally because it's a little secret, not a secret really. We spend only 40% of our time meeting one-on-one with students. We have a lot of other responsibilities. So we are delivering workshops in class. We are involved in other associations with students. We have our portfolio. So for example, my portfolio is international students. So we have Instagram live sessions. So we have a lot of job beside meeting with one-on-one with students. So if you want to reserve my hour of attention with you alone, book an appointment with me. Okay, so appointments are available. If you follow that link tree I shared with you in the chat, you would see all buttons to all the services we have in career services. So you would be able to book an appointment either with me or with my colleagues.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
No problem.
That actually answered question for Farah. And I think many people thinking of how to contact you after this program. Another one I have here is from Janice. How long after we graduate can we access the career center? Is it forever?
Yes, it is pretty much forever. As of February last year, we started serving our students regardless, graduates regardless of year of graduation. So you can contact us at any time. You would need to register as an alumni on GB Careers, but that is, as far as I know, is much more easy task than it used to be.
All right, thank you so much. If there are no other questions, I just want to add that on 20th of March, we have continuation concluding part of this particular topic, which is going to speak to resume and cover letter, and that will be covered by Kalisha, who is also on the bridge with us today. So please join us to learn about how to write a robust resume that will captivate or speak to the pain of the hiring manager. Please join us on 28th of March. Another thing I would like to say is I was speaking earlier today, you said you're going to send some materials to me that can forward to the participants, such that whichever you are not able to touch, we can send to them.
Okay.
So that they can please remember to do that.
Fine. Thank you very much for having me. It was really, I love this topic. You can tell probably. And by the way, well, we definitely we had this conversation before. When you're passionate enough about your job, when you're passionate about things you want to contribute to employers, those kind of things are very impressive for employers. So speaking of this concept, this job search project plan got me this job at George Brown College. Because what happened, there was a networking event and there was a director of student success department at George Brown College, and we were talking. So students were sort of milling around. They were coming to the tables we were sitting in, and one of the students had the same complaint as Farhad expressed. Well, I'm looking for a job, there is no result. And I started telling him about this job search project plan. So what happened in the end, the director of student success was so impressed that she allowed my manager to waive a second round of interview for this position.
Wow.
So it was involuntary, I would say. I didn't mean to network, but this is what happened. So when you're passionate, if you know your strength, you would be successful in your networking. I bet you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No
Robin,
problem.
do you have anything to say before we wrap up this session for today?
No, thank you everyone for joining us today. And as Adifemi have said, this is part 1 of 2 sessions. So you want to make sure that you attend the second one in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you so much everyone for joining us. And we will see you on 28th for concluding part of this particular session. However, on the 21st of March as well, there's another session. You will see the flyers speaking to that session. Please join us. We appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.